marketing and the branding. So let's go.
Thank you. It's very nice being very fondly represented by my colleagues from SAC. So yeah, without losing any more time, let us go to the main thing why we're here, meaning our slides, my slides for this. Let me just, hopefully you should be able to see my slides now, right? And okay, seems good. So let's go with the basics, how to brand and market your event effectively. So first of all, to mention, there is a lot of things in branding that are very connected to event management, but let's go a little bit, one step at a time. So about me, I have been heavily introduced by Krishna and Vad. I will not go back to that, but just maybe that you should know that beside my professional role that I am, an owner and CEO of a bolded marketing agency, I am also very much involved in the Region 8, and here also as a student social impact coordinator, meaning by IEEE Region 8 SAC. And I'm an educational activities lead in the entrepreneurship committee on the Region 8 level. I say that I'm an entrepreneur, started out as an artist, actually an activist, went to graphic design through college, graphical engineering. And then I became more and more into that, so consultant and branding strategist. And now it's entrepreneur in a way. But I also like to say mentor. I also like to say, change maker from that perspective. So let's hope we do something here as well in that matter. So, how to organize an event, what we're going to talk about here in very short. Definition and purpose of an event. This is very important, and sometimes a small change, small difference in analyzing things and defining things can make a big difference in how you attract people. Key components of event management: planning an event, marketing and promotion, why is branding important for events, logo and other key elements of branding for the events, on the day management, and post-event cleanup and promotion. Many things are considered here cleanup, but of course we are kind of mostly focusing here on promotion. So I have put out some of these things that we usually did. We had before in some programs managing the mastering the steps of event management. That was the session. It had less focus on branding itself of the event, but more focus on all the steps that should be considered in event management. But now we are just focusing mostly on the branding of the events and how to market it. So as I said, definition and purpose is very important because, what is it? Is it a conference? Is it a congress? A conference by congress, anything that is educational, like seminar, product launch can be also corporate event, and board meetings, etc. So you have corporate events, which is mostly for us important conferences. That's why I said conferences. You have social events, weddings, birthdays, anniversaries, anything like that, celebrating somebody's life achievement kind of thing. Cultural events, festivals, fairs, you have here parades, any sort of, like you have here music festivals, you have a bunch of things. Festivals is considered, you have music festivals, you have festivals that are for food, for example, for various things. Fundraising events, charity galas, auction, beneficial concerts, etc. So even though concert itself is a kind of like more of a cultural event going into festivals, and in that area is also concerts, but when you have it for funding purposes, to gain money for a cause, then it's also be in this criteria. Then you have sports events. I mean, FIFA right now, very, very thing. I'm a proud Bosnian, so we kind of won. So this is now a big thing. But You have tournaments, matches, marathons, any sort of thing like that, and I'm sure here anybody following this much more than me. So I'm just giving an example with FIFA. So here, an example of an event when when it's happening, make sure to take pictures. I usually say this very often, and I'm somewhere here. Yeah, here. I used to be blonde, so I'm actually somehow in the middle. It's an event we organized as me being part of Region 8 SAC in 2024, I think. So yeah, a kind of cool event, or maybe 23, to be honest, not sure anymore. But when you think of event management, you have to have sort of understanding what are the key components. And first of all, it's planning. In my language, we have this saying, which roughly translates measure twice before, cutting once. So here, I would say that you remember this saying, planning is so important, and you have to plan double or 3 times more than you should do any, action item. But also be aware it should not just be planning and action items not happening, because if you don't take action, the event will not happen. But it's really important that to establish what you want to make with the event. What are the objectives? What are, budgets? Do you have any budgets? Do you have, okay, what do I have? Do I have resources in terms of speakers already? Do I have something? So you plan that already ahead and the event around that. Selecting dates. Okay, is this date too close? Is it too far? Can we do it? Is this date that I would like, would this venue be available? This is all sort of planning, and you have to sometimes be adaptable. Sometimes you change a date because of, the venue is not free, and they would like to give you for free, but it's not free on the date you want it. So you make adjustments, but that is all planning, and that. Coordination, you have to organize teams that will be working on that. It can be 1, 2 people, it can be 5, it can be 50, depending on the event, depending of your resources, of your student branch, of your, whatever you are part of as organizing committee. Scheduling, vendor management, and so on. So it's a coordination. By vendor management, I just meant here vendor management, but there is a lot more. Like you have to manage the food. Is it coming from a different place to this? Is it etc. Management of speakers. It's all of coordination, to be honest. Execution, you have on the day management. You have logistics, crowd control. By crowd control, it's a very important task also when you have a live event and you have 2, 3 speakers in workshops separately, for example, and people are losing which hall, where, what. This is such a random thing, but you have to manage these things. You have to have volunteer on spot to say, okay, here it is, here, follow the arrows, etc. So it can be such little things that bring to a disaster if they're not think of. And you have evaluation, post-event analysis, feedback collection, reporting, and so on. Now, these are like the key components, but I also would like to say that marketing is a key component, but to be honest, if event is private, it can be happen without marketing. So these are the key components, but please think of marketing and branding as key components as well. So when you start doing the event, you have to first brainstorm what type of event. Of course you want a conference, but what conference? What is the topic? Is it machine learning, or is it sustainable technologies? Is it whatever? It's you have to start planning around something. Needs of your member are always a good thing to think of. So if you know that you have in your student branch 50 people interested in sustainability, you go in that direction. That event will be, first of all, you will fight for that event to happen. You will have people to be on that event, and you will do your best. They will do their best to bring more people to the event. But I'm just giving examples. Of course, many different things can be organized, even with less supporters from directly your student branch. Then your resources. Okay, you have volunteers. Do you have speakers already that would do this for you on for free, or easy to join, etc. Do you have people that would give you, maybe a company that you know from a previous thing that would maybe give you small amount of money as a sponsor to help you out with anything around printing or anything? So what is your resources? What comes to your mind? Okay, I can use this for this event. This is your resource. Supporter of the event, yeah, by supporters, again, that can be also a speaker. That could be your dean, who is helping you, giving you free space in the university to help you out. Supporter, it can be like somebody who is an influencer a little bit in the STEM thing, and could promote the event, etc. So various people can be supporters of that. Who could be a sponsor? I already kind of mentioned this by resources, because maybe you have somebody already. But if you have also not somebody, you can think of, okay, make a list. Who can we ask to be a sponsor? Maybe, it's a couple of companies in your city that are known, that support such events, and maybe they would do it. Even though it's not your resource, you don't know anybody personally there who definitely would do. But you can try to get a sponsor. So in short, what, when, how, those are the questions that you have to define in these brainstorming sessions. So define purpose, define audience, and positioning. By audience, I mean, okay, students, but students in what? Students interested in robotics, students interested in this. Is it a first year thing? Sometimes if you make a small event, it can be like, on just one small topic. Is that topic for somebody from the first year, or is it you have to have be almost a graduate to understand the topic? So this is something that you need to define in the audience perspective, and how to position it. We will talk about this more. So you have the brainstorming session done. Now you sit with the team and you say, okay, how are we going to do this? Let's define roles. I'm going to be chair of this. I'm going to do this. You're going to do this. Do you want to do the marketing? Can you do social media? Can you do this? Can you ask sponsors? You define roles. It can be just between you guys, but it's not so much about the role itself, even though sometimes it is important and you have experience based on that. But more importantly, it is about having somebody to be responsible for something. Then okay, I will not bother this person as a main organizer. I will not bother him for social media because a person that does that, So you have a responsibility who is doing what, and you go first to them. And if they don't do it, if they don't know, then you go back to chair or somebody else. I will actually explain this in another slide again, but I have been a bit ahead of myself. So preparation, second thing is planning is half of the work. I kind of already mentioned this, but let's do a little bit more. So you are defining objectives to fit the purpose and goal. By that, you define, okay, what do I want to achieve this? I want to get more students into this topic. I want to get more papers done by our university to be sent for Regionate student paper contest, etc. These are some of the objectives that you can. I want to organize the SYP in our country, etc. So these are the objectives that you want to achieve. Estimate costs and budgeting. Again, do you have anything on your student branch to use for this? Do you have any potential sponsors, or do you have just a way to understand, okay, I need this much for approximately, of course, for printing. I need this much for this. I need for food, for venue. Okay, maybe I get venue for free. So I need this much. Can we find funding in the Region 8 level or somewhere else? So it's important that you try these things. Venue selection. How big do you want it? That is your first thing, to fit the size and the purpose. So if you want to get 10 people, you can just use any hall in the activity of your faculty. in the university, you can ask the dean, can I just use this hall for tonight? We have a small workshop to do. It's 5-10 people. But if you want a big event, you have to see if it's a hotel, if it's something big that you can have for free or as part of sponsorships, etc. So even hotels can be sponsors. So they will probably give you at least a good deal, if not free venue for such events for students. So, but again, you just have to communicate that and you have to be ready. Timeline, you create a detailed schedule of tasks leading up to event. So you start from now. I have like 3 months, what I have to do. And especially with marketing. Okay, if you start from the agenda, I have this agenda, these speakers in mind. They called me to be here and they promoted me. So if you have 10 speakers, you promote 10 speakers. So it's a whole day event. So you have that in planning. Okay, I have to promote all these people. I have to promote all of these things. I have to promote all of these workshops, all of these keynotes, because people want to know what they expect on that event. They will not show up if they don't know this will be happening on that event. So yeah, and then you have this timeline. Okay, I have to do all this promotion in this month, for example. Yes, I said already workflows, dynamics, and communication channels. It's kind of like supporting of the team. So if you have somebody responsible for something, then this is the communication channel. You go to this person for this specific thing. If you don't know, then you go back, okay, this is your person, he, she can, help you out. It's important. Communication sometimes is the silent killer when it comes to, overload of work. Communication can be very demanding in such events. So it's important that you don't communicate and bother. I will use the word bother for a reason. Bother just one person, just make other people responsible for their task. So if the person who is sending sponsorships packages for companies, they will communicate until the end, the sponsorships, and the chair doesn't have to be so much involved. The chair has to do other logistics that are required, the chair of the organizing committee. So you just have to have this, plan of who is doing what. So it's not 1-2 people, it's a whole team responsible for something and you help each other. Of course, that's why the group meetings are there. And of course, preparation, marketing, and promotion. And I think this is why we are mainly here. So I will just say that, as you can see here, organization and strategy, I would also say these are the main 2 words. So first of all, have a strategy. Identify target audience and channels. And the plans, as I said, like if you have 10 speakers, you promote all 10 of them. I have to promote the main event. I have to promote call for sponsorships, call for participants, call for speakers. If it's a bigger event and you do this way ahead, or if you have already planned who the speakers are, you don't have a call for speakers, but then you just start promoting each speaker, each agenda item, meaning workshop separately, and etc. So you just start promoting that. Tactics, social media, email marketing, press releases, dependable on how big important, but also sometimes even you can find, a portal or a TV station that would like to be covering your event for free. You can put them as a sponsor. They like that. Materials, create promotional content, flyers, posters, T-shirts for the conferences, something that has the logo of the conference and so on, because it will give momentum also for participants. They will like to take pictures with that. It will be also more on their social media, which is at the end free marketing in a way as well. Engagement, use interactive elements to engage audience before the event. So what I would say that still is a bit lacking in IEEE events, which I understand we are all volunteers here, is we are not doing it consistently enough. We are not starting early enough to promote a big event, especially. But it is also because of these events, like, okay, we are counting it will be visited. It's a big event. It's people will show up. So I think this is something that, if you would like to work on it, I would start from there to make these small changes that could, be good for all of it. And how you can do it, like, use interactive elements. If you know that some event is happening in this city, you can start, be creative, like, okay, let's make something, as a post of people who are coming to interact. Like, before, like a couple of years ago, it was very famous on Facebook, for example, that you have these pictures, and I think it's still important for big events. They are still using it today. I saw it for GITEX, that's why I remember. People are posting their picture and say, I'm attending GITEX in Europe, which is in Berlin in a couple of days. So big events that are, they're not IEEE, but they're huge events in Europe, for example, like Vivatech and GITEX are using still such elements. So you can, promote a fun initiative like that, or anything, that comes to your mind separately, and just engage people that they post something on their own. So you can call an action for them. This is just example. You can do it in various different reasons. It can be connected to the city of where they are traveling from to that event, or something as that. But interaction is kind of important and gives momentum in general. Okay, so yeah, I use this because this is the last one I have from these events. So let's give it an explanation here. So before making the visual identity, so for these trainings, this is the visual identity. So it's just me now, another speaker will be promoted, and so on and so forth. So event name and tagline. Here, first of all, this is the organizing thing. This is sort of the logo, and this is the logo of the organizer committee. But this is the initiative. So it's kind of IEEE Junior Exec Volunteer Training Camp. In a way, it's a logo itself, because a logo can be just typing as well. Event name and tagline. This is the event name, because it's not a huge important event. It doesn't have its own tagline, but for a conference, it should have. Logo and palette. Logo is here. Palettes are used from the logo itself. It is the bluish that we usually kind of use. Typography, all is consistent with general IEEE branding. Body font, visual style. So as I said, for these events, for this volunteer training camp, this is now the main visual. If they do some other promotional thing, it will be a different visual. It doesn't matter that it's Vildana on that. It will be a total different visual aspect. And of course, brand voices, tone of copy. So I have not put that, but you can use it dependable on what you are promoting. So if you're promoting, for example, a robot championship for kids and robot championship for adult students, it's not the same tone. It's not the same tone visually. It's not the same tone of how you would speak, So it's that is meant by here. Yes, or should we leave the questions for later? Majid?
No, I'm just checking if you take question at the end, so that's fine.
Okay. So why is branding important for events? So I mean, when you say brand, you usually think like something like Nike, like Adidas, like Apple, etc. But it's important to understand that, first of all, a person can be a brand. We are all kind of here our own brand, depending how much we are developed as well and known for what we do in life. But if you mention Brad Pitt, he's a brand. He's known for something. But also, as a professional in this field, you can be a brand like that. But also, an event is brand itself. As I mentioned, GITEX right now, or Vivatech, very known events. But also IEEE Regionate SYP, for example, the regional SYP that is now happening next month in Poland. That's already known event. It's a brand. So what I'm trying to say, like, you use the same things to brand an event as you would to brand a startup or a business. Meaning you have to have trust, design, value, strategy, logo, marketing, advertising, identity, all the basic things that are connected. By trust, it's mostly, that you build up on the momentum of the event, so that people have connection to you. That is trust in this matter. Okay, I like to put sometimes definitions on my slides. So let's have a small recap. What is branding? What is marketing? So this is like a basic internet definition that is maybe most appropriate for me. Branding is the process of creating and spreading a brand name. Creating and spreading a brand name. Its quality and personality. Branding can be applied to overall corporate identity as well to an individual product or service or concept, meaning event here. But what is important here, creating and spreading a brand name. So a brand name here being the event. Now, marketing is an activity, a set of systems and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customer, clients, partners, and society as a whole. But again, you think here from the perspective of an event, we need to market this event because this event will be useful for these students, these professionals, these people. These are the target group. So you have to, in short, what I like to say, and I think this is important to remember, marketing is a short-term action for a long-term vision, which is branding. And this is how you distinguish these two terms, because I think most people kind of also still confuse them. How to brand your events and market effectively was the main title of this session. So you brand them. You have this initial type of idea. It should be these colors, these logos, etc. But what is important to understand is branding comes with time. And it can be like one you can do a conference that is 1 year and then repeat it next year and in a couple of years, and then it's known like, oh, this is the Regionate SYP. It is very known in the region. It's mostly known because it happened so many times before, so it's known that it has a good reputation. And that is what actually brand is. It's a reputation of the company, of the event, or a person. That is what is considered a brand, the reputation itself. Marketing is just how you present yourself until you gain that trust to be a professional in your field, a good company, or a good event to be, worth visiting. So this is that you just have to understand how they are codependent to each other and what they represent. So the idea behind the brand, and as I mentioned, it's the how your customers perceive you, meaning it is your reputation. When you see a logo, you already have something. You think of something. So when you see Apple, you will think like, oh, good technology. Or you will think of kids in Africa, doing lithium chips to child labor, basically. Same for McDonald's. You will think like, oh, nice food, or you will think like poison. That is the reputation, what they're known for. It depends also from the perspective of the person. And we can have here for everyone, I think, something good, something bad. So let's not waste too much time here. But it's just important that you also understand that perception of the company. It's not just the logo. It's what they stand for, what they do in life, and what represents them. For example, for Coca-Cola, we have now recently all of these issues because people will say they are funding wars, etc. So we have the power as consumers to think like, do I want to support that? Same for the event. You have to be careful what your event stands for and to brand it accordingly to that. Okay, so you need to understand a couple of concepts here, and this is something also very confusing to people in general. So the brand itself is what I just said here. Coca-Cola can be known for like, oh, nice drink, or not healthy drink, or war. But brand identity is the something like more specific, including elements, etc. What they promote. They promote the funny commercials during summer. They have Santa Claus during winter. That is brand identity. And the visual identity is the more specific thing, focusing only on the visual things, like, you know, Coca-Cola logo, etc. Like the very basic, you know, package of is the visual identity, and the brand identity goes further, and the brand itself is the overall perception. For event, this would mean logo, colors to be consistent, meaning if you will make a new event now, next year, use the same logo if it's good then. Don't change it. Make it once good, and that is all. Continue with the same logo. Continue with the same colors, for example, identities, but change the brand identity for next year. You have a new tagline and you have like a new design, but you keep the same logo. I will explain this in an example so it will make sense. And then after 1 year of success, after 2, 3, 4 years of success, people will have this, okay, this is the event, it's good, we should go for next year. That is the brand. So, but you start with the visual identity as mentioned there. For example, this is the logo, okay, but this overall design of last year will not be the same this year, and it was not the same in 2024. So it can be still use same colors because these colors are on the logo, but here can be another picture, or it can not even have these lines. It can be totally different, but it will have same font because of the logo and IEEE identities. And the logo maybe will change or not, I don't know. I don't think they have changed it. It's happening regularly now. But the visual identity, the brand identity behind will be changed. I hope that makes sense. Same here. STEM Zona is the event we organized in 2023 with my company. For these NGOs. And the thing is, this is the logo. Next year, they might have a totally different tagline. It can be for something for sustainability. It can be maybe more greenish, totally different. This one was more, you know, connecting ideas. That was the concept. So we just put it a bit, you know, basic abstract, but they want a little bit, you know, how they want it. So the next thing could be totally different design, but the STEM logo stays. Okay. Here, I'm showing you different concept, different designs that we did because it shows diversity, how you can promote different events. This is a festival, a food festival, for example, so very obvious, right? But again, they happened also after us 2 times. They had different designs, not these you know, visuals, but the logo stayed the same. Okay. Now, speaking of the logo, that is very important, and anybody who knows me knows this, that I usually speak a lot about them, but I will try to summarize, you know, because we cannot have a whole session about the logo. You should always have it in the same direction and position. So this is an example of mark plus typography logo. There are totally 7 types of logos. That's a whole different topic. But this one and just typography are the most used nowadays. So you have a mark that is specific, and you have a typography next to it or under it, usually both for practicality. But the thing is, if it's positioned like here, it is always like here. It cannot be aligned under it or something like that. It has to be always same positioned. And what is also important, when you make a logo, you pick the colors up to 3. Then you make it in black and white, meaning negative, because you have to have it for different positions. As you can see here, the organizers, because of the background, they need to be like this. So that's useful. One of the sentences I usually put on all of my presentations regarding branding and logos: if the logo is your ID card, the website is your passport, make sure to bold it. Just to emphasize how important the logo is, but how also important, if you have an event website, make sure to make it something easy to understand, how people should apply for the event, etc. So if you need ideas for logo, just keep it simple. Basic thing I can tell you is the reason why Apple logo is so famous is because it's a very simple Apple. If it would look with various shadowing and various details and God knows what, it will not be so memorable. But it's just one shape with a byte, and the byte is even so simple. It's only, you know, one line. So that makes it very usable and memorable for people. So keep it simple as possible, because it should be very small, that it fits on a pen and you can understand what the logo is. If you have too many details, that is impossible. So for me, on the faculty, people have told me the logo is not a logo if you cannot see it on the pen. So maybe just remember that as a small thing. But what you need to understand is different presentations of the brand for different events from the organizers. So see, this is the same organizers as the event I mentioned. We had a small, this is in 2025, we had some small sessions about graphic design. Yeah, I know you don't understand this, but I'm just giving a point. So visually, you can see the difference in this design from the same organizer and this design. They had a couple of speakers for different sessions here. So it had this template kind of. But you understand that it's two different aspects from the same organizers. And that is important to know. If you're going to do something for a conference, you keep the event promoted like that. If you do something parallel, you know, you do it in a different design. The application, you know, should be just in the given standard. So meaning this has in colors, has these two colors. So it's still usable as in the standards, because the identity application is good for various standards. Okay, I'm not here an example, so I used me to explain. Yeah, as mentioned, I used to be blonde. So, but all the speakers from this event, STEM Zona, we all had this design and our sessions being, you know, written here. So same visual identity for the same event. Colors, typography, message. In general, colors, typography, message, but mostly same background. As I said, that is the identity for itself. How to start marketing? We mentioned this already briefly before. Have a strategy, but what type of strategy? It's a roadmap. What should be posted? What should be done? It doesn't have to be just posting. It can be contacting PR, you know, portals for PR, contacting TV stations, doing flyers, you know, going around giving flyers, or you know, putting posters somewhere in the city. That is also a marketing strategy. That is also promotion, just, you know, outdoor and not online. Of course, also billboards and you know, these type of things that are literally called outdoor campaigns. But we are talking about student events, so I doubt that you're gonna make a billboard. It's important that, again, you have target audience and value proposition. What are you offering to your target audience? So students, this event, what are you offering on this event for your students? Meaning speakers, meaning various interaction, networking, workshops, all of it is a value proposition for them. Which channels you will use in communication, and which communication style. As I said, you will not promote a robot championship event for kids and for high schoolers, and for students, same. It's a totally different communication style. And it helps, so marketing strategy helps you focus limited resources. Again, it's a student event, you don't have much budget, but if you plan this ahead, it will give you more value for that money that you have to do something. So it's very important that you plan ahead. It aligns product brand and growth goals from the start, meaning here your brand of the event, and growth goals, meaning how to achieve bigger visibility to people to participate. That is the goal here. So choose the right marketing channels. You start small. Like if you are starting a conference that you want to do yearly, you start small, of course, 2-3 channels top. I always prefer, in general, I say Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I know people would say Instagram is dying, but it's Meta, and Meta is connected to Instagram, so I don't think so. And also, it's a different audience. Some of the speakers still like to use more Facebook. Digital channels, you have to think, but also here you can use other channels, like as I said, maybe your websites of the faculty, or maybe small, portal or something that would like to do a story about you guys. That's a channel in this perspective. Digital channels when it comes to social media, CEO, if you have a small website, email, would you send emails? Paid ads, content marketing. So now this is like if you have, again, budget for this, which is rare. Offline channels, events, partnerships, local PR, community building. By other events, so okay, you know that something is happening already at the campus and you have a flyer, you go and you distribute the flyer on the events. It's such a basic thing, but brings so much effort to your positioning. Okay. This is very important and a very basic thing, but how you do, so this slide is, kind of explains everything. Take a screenshot or something. Website announcement and social media. So on the left side, you have what you do before the event, so website. What are your future activities? So you promote the conference, you promote this on the website of student branch or website that you make for the conference. Excuse me, opportunities for your students. Do you have it for free? Do you have a limited free options? Do you have something? This is an opportunity for students. Partnerships with other SPCs, with companies, etc. You put that there. During, it's usually you don't have time to put anything on the website. If it's a 2-day conference or 1-day conference, you will not put anything that day or these days. After, article blog about events. Now, if you don't have this website, or even if you have it, again, same goes for this social media. You do these things, what you do, what are your future activities, but multiple posts. Here you can do one activity, one article, and you put all the speakers mentioning. Here you put various posts about the announcements, the speakers, etc. Partnerships, and opportunities and all of this. So all of this plus partnerships and more focus. During, you put Instagram and Facebook stories, short reminders before events. If you have like a group with people, like WhatsApp or something, you put reminders there as well. It's important to get engaged with the crowd. After, you share a big article. If you have it on the website, you share a big article online on these platforms. If not, you just make posts about the event itself, reel, something that just explains like, this is how it was. And this is the main thing what you should do. This is like in very short how you can do the whole marketing strategy of the event. Now, important segment of the event is the pro material and merchandise, especially if it's like a bigger event. If it's just like one workshop of 2 hours, you don't need to have anything. But if you have like a conference or mini conference 1-day event, if you have the possibility to get a sponsor for something to print, do it. So people love this, students love this. I'm sure you can also say that you will have it, and yeah, it's a good reminder where you were and how it was. Be consistent in your branding and marketing, so the result will come. So if you have this event and you continue promoting it, and if you promoting it and you don't know if it will happen next year or not, but if you have it enough seen, and if you got some sponsors, and even if you haven't, If they see it online, it's a big chance they might reach out for the next year. Or if when you reach out and you send them these posts, they will say like, oh, let's support this. You know, most companies would do something little for students like that. So it is important that you have it somewhere, you know, documented the process. Before event, we did the event, and now we are doing second year. So it's important that they see that. So just consistency and clear messaging makes the long-term brand development easier. Meaning, if it's good, like, you know, all the posts are same design, etc., you see it's for sure that event. Now, we are at the event itself, and you don't have really much time for marketing. But as I said, it's important that you take pictures, that you, first of all, take a lot of pictures. You will use it afterwards for reports, for marketing, for a lot of pictures is needed. But also, please think of, okay, let's have, you know, speakers, pictures of them, you know, and that is also important because sometimes the speaker will reach out and have ask you for pictures. But also it's important that you share stories. If nothing else, it's important that one person is there just to share stories, you know, that good things are happening, and yeah, to keep the momentum of the event. Now, you finish the event, you probably go sleeping and hoping and being like, oh, thank God it's done. It's usually like that. The last few weeks before the event, it's usually stress, and the event happened and you're just happy it's over. And the next day you have to think like, okay, what I need to do? What is the important? Okay, should I, oh yeah, the venue, was it paid? Do we have any payments for the venue? Do we have payments for the food? Is everything taken care of? Then of sponsor supporters. Oh, let me send the emails of thank you. Let me, you know, answer them. Let me see if everything is done by them correctly, if it's all good. Then reporting of the event, especially IEEE event reports. I think I cannot skip this part to mention it at all. But here in big promotion of the event, because again, this is why we talking about this session. You have to, all that collection of your volunteers that have pictures, and if you didn't have a professional photographer, that is fine. If you had, awesome. But, you know, with nowadays phones, a lot of good pictures can be taken, but take pictures. And very important, take pictures vertically and horizontally. Trust me on this. Because you will use different pictures for different formats, maybe web format, maybe, you know, Instagram story, maybe Instagram post. But it's very important that you have, you know, pictures in both formats. And now you start like, okay, promotion. Okay, let's promote the how the sessions was, like, you know, group them. Let's see how big of an event is, how many posts can we deliver, how much we can group them. But make sure it looks good. So why is this all important? As mentioned, long-term brand development. Because again, you might think now, okay, this conference happened once, but I know so many students here in Bosnia and IEEE and non-IEEE that started out as an idea for students, and, you know, these students are long gone, not students, but these events are still happening. From time to time, I see an announcement for one of the student conferences where I did a logo as a student. That logo is still there. So yeah, that has been over 10 years. So I'm just trying to tell you, you never know. Your event, your small initiative can be really grown into a big brand itself. And you will be happy and proud, you know, to see that 10, 15 years later, you know, like, oh my God, it's still happening. So again, in order to have this long-term brand development, when you start doing this, consistency and brand and clear brand message, don't mix logos, choose the colors that go with your brand. In general, for printed material and social media, don't use too many colors when you promote something. Even, you know, throughout the different years, just try to have something in common, even if it can be very different, the visuals from year 1 and year 2, but have something in common. And here is a small reminder, and then we can go to questions. So organize an event that you like, and as I said, your team members, because you will not lose motivation. Good planning is half of the work. even more in this case. Marketing is a short-term action for a long-term vision, meaning branding. The concept of branding is important for promotion of events. Start good. And this is because, as I said, if you have the logo first year done good, you don't have to change it, you know. The application of the visual identity can vary within the given graphic standards. For me, graphic standards are very important because my faculty is graphical engineering. So I have been, fed graphic standards a lot. And that's something I try to teach people through my design sessions. But just keep in mind, graphic standards are something that a designer puts, as a rule. It's not but it should be just, the main rule is it should use the basic things of the brand, meaning logo, meaning typographies, meaning these colors, these basic rules. And then you have given different aspects what the brand guidelines or meaning standards here are. The right font and or color in logo can make a huge difference. Always have your logo in 3 versions for the usage. Font and logo here to make a difference, because it will give you a different aspect. Like, if it's a light blue or dark blue, it can give different moods for it. And and that's, as I said, that's something we take care of because we think for who the event is. If it wants it a little bit more very childish, or do we want it very serious in future? Keep it simple when it comes to logo design. Less is more, always. Consistency and clear message makes the long-term brand development easier. Marketing strategy is a roadmap for your startup, attracts, converts, and retains customers, but also here events, so not just startups. So yeah, that is all from my side, and yeah, feel free to have questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vildana, for the informative presentation. Yeah, we can start with Majid. He was the first who wanted to ask a question. Please go ahead, Majid.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for your talk and for the opportunity. So I have like a couple of questions, but I will try to make it short. One thing I want to ask, you mentioned about the poster. So do we need to use like QR codes on this one? Will that be helpful?
Thank you for this question. God bless you, Majid. Very, very important question. Okay, so let me explain something. So you said posters. So that is partially correct. Poster is a printed material that is printed on one side. Flyer is a printed material that can be printed on one side or both sides, okay? But a poster is literally the posters you remember maybe as a singer or something that we do with when we liked somebody, TV series, we put their posters on the wall, because on the other side it was nothing important. So that is something that is considered poster, and this is not you, this is a common mistake. I call social media visuals. It's designs for visual aspect for social media posts. So it's not technically a poster. So for visuals that you will scroll on your phone or on your screen, more people are now using phones than laptops. So you don't need a QR code on your visual on social media. But QR code is a good thing for a flyer, for a poster, because it will be out there somewhere where it's not on social media. You cannot click on it in the link in the post, or link on to see more about the conference on their page, because when you share, even if it's an ad, when it comes up and I see this ad and I see, okay, IEEE Unit SYP posted this, let me click on them, let me see other posts. But a random people walking and they see this poster on the wall and it's like, oh, cool idea, oh, there's a QR code, let me scan that. So QR codes should be on printed materials. You can put it even on a roll-up or something, but it should not be on visuals. Nowadays it just takes space for no reason, because it's so unlikely that that maybe 2 people will use it out of a group of 500 that see it. Because if they open it on a laptop, and maybe they will screen it, but it's more likely they will just click the link if it's in the, and I know for Instagram it makes it more complicated, but you can put on a story and put it the link, and all goes. So yeah, that's a good question.
No, yeah. Thank you for the clarification. The poster and flyer that usually I got mistake on these one. So I have like just one another question, so I'll let other people participate. I just want to ask about, like, we are new with IEEE, we are starting our branch, so we are especially planning for our logo. So I'm keen to know, there should be logo with some text or logo some image, like as a first impression, which can be remembered.
There are IEEE guidelines for that. You can put IEEE branding guidelines, and the website will come up to you. If you have issues to find that, just reach out, but it should pop out when you just Google it, and it will explain you. I will tell you honestly, there are some of the things there that I'm not as a professional for, but it's how they are put it as an explanation. But it's usually, it has, some of the things are very good explained, what you should not mix and what you should not, combine. So yeah, it should usually contain the IEEE already logo, and under it, which name of the student branch. That is maybe the most used case, but there's a couple of allowed versions. So find that. If you have issues, yeah, I think you already found it. Yeah, I told you it will pop out, and then you can just see how it should be there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Next.
Carol, please go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. It's very insightful. So
Oh,
I
hi,
wonder,
Carol.
hi. Yes. So I wonder, the most difficult part of bringing up a good event is having attractive souvenirs, food or drinks. I wonder how to get started to find sponsors. Are there any tips?
Yeah. Okay. So that is a good question. And sometimes I can tell you, even the small parts for that is just to ask. Sometimes you can just go to a pizzeria and ask, would you give us a couple of pizzas for this event, and sometimes that works because they like to support, students or something. But if you want to make like a real sponsorships, you offer them a little bit like a small companies, and you offer them like, oh, can you give us, 200 euros or whatever, and you get this from us, meaning you get promotion, you get to get a speaker, to talk about an internship position or something. This is something that companies like, to participate. And to be honest, for a company, it's usually a conference is way more expensive than this. So yes, you are a small conference, you are starting something small, but it's you're giving something, receiving something. So for them, it's not so much money, and they get visibility, and they get to be promoted as a company that is helping students. So just try to make a sponsorship package where you can say like, okay, you have this, you can give a lecture, and you can talk about your company here, or you can have a booth here, whatever works for you. We will give you the possibility for that. And we need this couple of hundreds for us, and then and if you get like 2-3 companies for that, like you can make a whole one-day conference for sure. You can feed many students immediately.
Sounds like a good plan. So is there any template or standard agreements that we have to sign with the companies that are willing to sponsor the event?
There are actually a couple of things like as a you can Google it also online. We also had a session with me somewhere in some of the programs, I think last year with that. I don't know if that is public available. That's record, but I can send you a couple of pointers. But also if you just Google like what are the main things? Like main things are to put their logo to be visible. Their logo should be visible. To give them special treats, like, okay, if you pay this much, you get to be a speaker. If you pay this much, you get to also be involved, as that. If it's a bigger event, if you pay this much, your logo gets on everything. If you pay this much, your logo will be mentioned, but not on all of the material. So, but again, that's where you come back to planning. You have to plan. You have to know how much of what you want to print, how much is the cost of it approximately, and then you go approach somebody from the printing industry, like, okay, would you give us a discount? We do all of this in your shop. Would you give us a small discount? So then you already put them as a sponsor, because they gave you a huge discount, for example. So it's a little bit of it's a try and error kind of situation. But the more you do this, the more comfortable you get. It's not asking money for yourself. It's asking money for an event that is benefiting many people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Arij, sorry. Aisha.
Hello. Yes, Aries. Hello. So thank you so much for your insights and your beautiful presentation. I just want to ask for tips to prepare our roll-up, because I think it's very important in any event.
Yes, that's a good point. So first of all, roll-up is a bit of vertical, and many struggle with that format because it's very vertical. It's not like a square. It's not. It's very vertical. So that is one point that people struggle. Second thing is, again, main identity. Put it on the roll-up. Okay, so you have main identity, then you put it on the roll-up. But what you should be from the positioning. Make sure to use it. So if you have to extend the background, because it's missing up here, somebody in Photoshop has to know how to do it. But other thing is, what our main things that should be there are big conference, big event name, dates, very important dates of that year's event. Then under it should be supporters, partners, and you put the logos. And that is also a selling point. You tell them it will be on the roll-up. It will be on the, main event material. People like, that is kind of like a special thing. Roll-up is a special thing. So it's not just like social media posts. We will have it on the roll-up. We'll have it on printed materials, walls, etc. So that is, where you have to put it. So you can put it, usually they put it at the end. Under it, supporters and partners or something like that. And you start from the ones that pay the biggest, the biggest package, and then you go down. But that is important also to mention. And I think I mentioned the most important things. So conference, dates, venue. I didn't say venue, sorry. Venue is also important. And then under it, that.
Okay, thank you. But I want to understand if we need a roll-up that stays for our student branch that we can use even in our booth at university when we're preparing for recruitment or something like that. So it differs, I think.
Okay. So you mean roll-up about your student branch, not about the event. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah. So try to find a common theme, what you do as a student branch in terms of like, are you focusing on empowerment? Like, some cool names, words that fit your type of understanding and what you work. I have to know more about what you do in order to understand, maybe I have to see a little bit more to tell you, okay, put this. But in general, focus on something like community, what you do with okay, organizing seminars, events, etc. This, so these things should be somewhere in the center. Up should be the logo of the student branch, and if it's a longer standing student branch, you can put like since this year, or whatever. But it's important that it's a team that is showing community. That is most important, because student branches are a community of students.
Yes, clear. Thank you so much, Vildana.
You're welcome. Hedy?
So, thank you, Valdana, for the presentation, first of all. But I have, let's say, three main questions. The first question is uh, about some funding programs. In the proposal submission, they request that you, if it is possible, you integrate some media posts or some ready tools or some already printing designs, materials, etc. I mean, whenever we find this, is that really important in the decision of we will fund this event or not? And is it important in what aspect exactly? Could you explain this to me?
Okay, so if you remember in the presentation, I said, like, build on the brand and do the posts often, before and after, because somebody might see it and next year decide to support it. And I didn't speak about funding. I spoke about, a company coming out to the post, seeing the post and, reaching out. The thing is, if it has been promoted and if you have pictures of the event, if you have designs of the event, people know you are already one step ahead in the organizing. People know. So if you have pictures of designs, for example, visuals, and if you promoted it already, if it's somewhere posted, you put a link and it's posted, the visual, people know that you started the thing. So it does help rather than, oh, it's just my idea, I have nothing. So it definitely helps from that perspective to make this decision easier. Okay, they started, looks serious enough. Let's give them some money for this. But also from the perspective, as I said, if you have multiple things, if it already has a reputation as something standing, something that people will visit, something, if you have done it last year and you want to do it again this year, it has a reputation already, so it does make a difference. I'm not saying that new events will not get funding. That is not the case. Of course, the idea of why fundings are given is to have more and more things. But the concept of everything is, it is sometimes, if you have a lot of events that already are a step ahead of planning and designing, and you don't have it, and it's always limited funds to give, so you might lose a chance just because somebody has a good idea and already started on it.
So, as a sum up, like people will treat me more seriously if I've just began the media things and so on.
Yes.
Okay, I understand it now. So, for the second question, you mentioned the consistency part and how it's important to keep on versions for the conferences, for the events, etc. To make, let's say, the brand by the multiple marketing steps and so on. But my question is, when let's say when I'm the old guy, I'm the one who organized the first version, how to convince the community to organize, for example, the fifth or the sixth version, while they're not still convinced, and they see that this event is so important and so important for let's say their for their identity in general. I don't know if you got my point, but I know that that event is important and it should keep continuing. But sometimes with new generations, with new guys, you can't convince them easily that this should be done. So, do you have any tips on how to convince them in this step?
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it's not just you. Everyone is struggling with this. The thing is, when you initiate something, it's your baby. You are most passionate about it. I know this. I do have some initiatives also started, so it's always different, and sometimes it's hard even to let to other people to do it because they will not put the effort in it. But my point actually is connected to that. You have to find a person who will be supporter. You have to find a person who would be a co-lead with you. So if you're doing it first year, organize it, and find a person from that membership to be maybe a co-lead next year, and then when you leave the university or student branch or whatever, that person can do the third year on its own and find. So it's a step of connecting. It's a handover process. And also, if you have already, some student branches are very good with this, like in Tunisia and Egypt. They have a good handover process to teach the next year of the student branch, and that's how it's given to them to lead. So have to find a person who you think is qualified for this and would have interest in this, and you do it together. So you kind of teach him or her, and then you leave the process more on her. But also have like a let's say handbook of all the good practices. Write something like it can be just a folder on somewhere on Drive. Then that folder will be given like, okay, these are good practices. This is what we have done good. This is what we have to, change for the next edition, and make sure that each year is continuing or lead of the event is continuing that. So yeah, there is no guarantees. I'm not saying, that it will not fail anyway, but these are some advices that I can give you that can help out.
I understand. Thank you for this explanation. For the third question, it's about the logos in general. Sometimes we're obliged to work with some old logos. In which part? I mean, for example, some, let's say, some soccer teams, they rebranded their logos to keep continuing with with generations, to be closer to have these new brands and social media, etc. But sometimes you have to deal with some really very old logos, like for example, the case in our student branches. You have to mention the university or the faculty that you're working in your logo. And sometimes this university had the logo from the 80s or something like that. And of course, you can't rebrand it. You can't have modifications on it. So what's your tips? What are your tips for designers while dealing with old logos that they must deal with them? How let's say to animate them or to make them to make people accept them?
Yeah. I mean, there is no easy question to this. I know what you mean exactly. I'm still dealing with the same issue sometimes, but it really depends on the logo itself for application, of course. But in general, things like what I can tell you, there are processes where you can change a logo to be approved when it comes to a student branch to be changed, and also the student branch logo doesn't have to, it has to have the name of the university, but doesn't have to have the whole logo. This is one of the things that I say it's not appropriate in the branding guidelines. But of sponsors, let me just tell you the most easiest way. It's not worth it to be stressed about. It's their logo. You are dealing with them for a very short amount of time, for a very small amount of money or support. It's not worth to be stressed about it. So if the logo is complicated and you cannot put it in negative, you don't have it in good resolution or whatever, just put it on the white, just make sure that that part of the design has a white background, put them in colors all, and, just don't stress yourself. This is the easiest way because, we cannot make everything perfect, but we have to, do it the best possible way. So yeah, it's just something that you will deal for one event, one short amount of time. So just don't stress yourself about that. That is my advice that I can give you. Put it on a white background.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your responses. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hamid?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Actually, I had a particular question regarding our university. Actually, I've observed many of the events organized by our university's IEEE chapter, and I've seen that they market it very effectively to the students, yet still we don't have a lot of footfall. So I have in mind a strategy which we could do. So I wanted to ask you if it might work. Like one strategy I think is that we could increase our audience by also like reaching out to the professors of our university and marketing the event to them as being important in for their networking, because we have a lot of guest speakers who are academics themselves. So we could market the event to them, and we could also ask them politely to encourage their students in their classes to join the event as well, because it's not that the students don't know about the event, because they post on the social media a lot, and there are also WhatsApp groups which are joined by the students, but they never feel the need that these events are important in some way. So this is what the strategy I have. So what do you think, it may work?
That's good. That's good. I mean, from the perspective of the professor, a professor usually will say like, come join me. And when a professor says, come join us, students take it more seriously because they are more scared for their grades. So that's a win-win situation for both of them. The professor wants more audience, if they are joining, and the students don't want to look good in front of professor. It is usually like that. So it is important, and as I said, utilize everything resources that you have. If you have a good professor, especially like if it's a kind professor that have good relationship with you guys. There's always like some good professors and some bad professors. I'm calling them like that. And if you have some good professors, just use them. They usually like to help, and they usually support student initiatives. And any progressiveness, and any proactiveness, to be specific. So if you have students like professors like that, they will probably join easily. Okay, like this day works for me, I will join, and then they will call their students on other sessions as well. So
Thank you, Ben. Thank you very much.
okay, we are a bit longer than we should have been, but I see that you don't mind. Most people are staying here, so thank you all. I think we are done with the questions. Krishna, what? Yep.
Well, thank you. No more questions. Vildana, I would like to thank you so very much for this presentation. I would like to thank everybody who joined. And yeah, we all enjoyed this presentation, and I have learned a lot of things about the branding I was looking for. Thank you, Vildana. Thank you, everyone. We can just say goodbye and have a good
Thank
night.
you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Vildana.
Thank
And
you,
thank you,
everyone.
Bobby.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.